Hello, everybody. This is Brian Choper with the Business of Music radio show, tbmradioshow.com, and this is our 10th.
It's our 10th episode.
Our 10th episode, and we have, as a guest tonight, Andy Lalasis, and I'm going to actually introduce all of you to Lou Durham, who has been hosting for quite a while, co-hosting for quite a while, and he is going to introduce you more thoroughly.
I'd like to introduce to you Andy Lalasis. He's a lifetime friend of mine and a wonderful musician whom I worked with when I was young. And we have kept in touch over the years, and he has such an interesting story to tell.
Right.
There's so many interesting projects.
Right.
So be introduced
and basically,
to Andy Lalasis.
We're having him here because
he's
an amazing musician.
He's an amazing musician.
It's as simple as that.
It's really as simple as that.
Let people learn about what the life of an amazing musician is and what they're doing. So
I think Andy should say hi.
Yes.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight.
So Andy, you and I have known each other since we were like 20 years old, I guess.
Yeah, amazing, right, Lou?
Is that about right?
What a history.
I know.
That is right.
We went to the same college. We played in different kinds of bands together. We did different kind of stuff together.
Yeah, we went through puberty together.
No.
Well, if it was puberty, Andy, it would have been post-puberty.
I just don't need to know about this stuff. Move a little forward, please.
Good thing we can edit this. It's not live. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So we did a lot of the clubs in New Jersey and Philadelphia, and we did some Atlantic City stuff, which was probably the beginning of your association with Atlantic City.
Yeah, that's correct, Lou. Oh my gosh. It's just amazing what we did together, and we did some recording together too, right, Lou?
We did. We did a couple songs that were written about Atlantic City.
So how old were you two when that?
How old was Andy
give me
and
a
I?
timeline.
I would say we were probably 25, 26 years old.
Okay.
That sounds
That's
about right.
And Lou, you wrote the tunes, right?
Yeah, I wrote those songs.
Now people don't know Andy plays bass.
Andy is a bass player.
People don't have any ideas.
He is an absolutely wonderful bass player. That's true. I'm just so happy to have you here on the radio, Andy.
You forgot to tell me.
I can tell you the four strings: E, A, D, and G.
There you go. The rock and roll keys.
Are you a teacher, Andy? Do you teach? Okay.
I have taught for a while, yes.
Okay.
But I don't anymore. I teach privately at my home now.
Okay.
And that kind of, I have a few select students that I keep on that are really promising. And then I don't do it for a living anymore. I just gave that up a while ago, but I did enjoy it a lot.
I think you told me you gave it up for Lent.
That's right.
You should have had him bring the bass on and play some bass while doing this.
I did want to ask you
so that while you're talking, you go do.
That's true. That's true. I was telling Brian that you had studied with Jaco Pastorius' father. Isn't that correct?
Well, I was friends with him. I became friends with him. He used to play at a nightclub, a bar in Philadelphia called The Sting. And he had his band there. And I was playing at Lily Langtree's in Philly. It was, I forget what hotel it was now, but it was kind of close to the Sting, so we used to go hang there. And I realized, like after the third time, that it was Jaco Pastorius' father. So we became pretty good friends, and he introduced me to Jaco. He took me to see Jaco when he just left Weather Report.
Wow.
And he took me to the Academy of Music, like right after Weather Report. He took me to see Jaco at the Academy of Music, and Jaco had a big band that he was just debuting called the Word of Mouth Band.
Okay.
So we got front seats, and we sat right in the middle front seats.
Oh wow!
And it was awesome.
I bet
I watched Jaco, and then it was just mind blowing.
I can't even imagine.
Then Oh, and then I got to introduced by his father to Jocko, and we became friendly. And I used to hang out with him. My friend studied bass with him. I never had the opportunity to study bass with him, but I did hang out with him more than a few times.
I think if I remember correctly, years ago, don't you have a bass that was Jocko's in your possession?
Oh no, I don't. I wish I did.
Okay,
but no, I don't.
I misremembered.
Okay,
I thought you had one. Okay, sorry about that.
So how many instruments do you have? Okay, as someone whose life is about the bass, how many instruments do you have of this? Do you play upright too?
At the moment, I do. Yes, I play upright. At the moment, I have about 6 basses.
Okay.
But it's like a used car lot here. They come in and they go out. And I have a couple favorites that I use. I'm an endorsee of Kevin Brubaker basses right now, and his basses are ridiculously beautiful and they sound amazing. And Aguilar amplifiers, which are, I think, the world's best amplifier. So I've been really lucky, those are my prized possessions, and I have an upright from 1930 that was in the Duke Ellington Orchestra. It was the band bass, so it was on the bus all those years. So I try not to clean it. I try to just leave all the grease and all on it, just for history's sake.
Yes,
I hear you.
Okay,
yeah. I would like you, Andy, before we get into your projects, I would like you to talk about what you did in Atlantic City. I mean, what kind of work and all the shows and the people you've worked with, and
in what years again?
In what years? What years that that
okay,
kind of timeline?
I got started in Atlantic City around '79 when the first casino opened, which was Resorts, and I started around then. Around '80, I officially started. I walked into my first gig was with Steve Wynn at the Golden Nugget, the original Golden Nugget.
Right.
And everybody knows who Steve Wynn is pretty much. He's a casino mogul from Las Vegas now. He left Atlantic City after a few years because he got frustrated with the local government. They would give him a hard time about building and stuff. So he's like, I don't need to be here. I'm going back to Vegas, But when I was there with him, I spent about 8 years in the hotel as part of the house trio in the lounge. And at the time, they were having main acts coming into the lounge. It was very unique. They had 2 lounges, and they had music round the clock. And they had acts like Johnny Ray come in, and all these Buddy Greca, all these great acts. So I was a kid. I'm in my 20s, and I'm playing with all these amazing people, and I just fell into it. I got a lucky break, and then I had to earn it once I got there, So I learned on the gig pretty much,
Sure.
And I played with some amazing, amazing people. And it was 6 nights a week. I worked for 20 years straight, 6 nights a week, every single week.
That's pretty
so
amazing.
It was just ridiculous. And I would work, we would work, sometimes we would start at noon and do 6 sets, which would be 3 sets with one singer, 3 sets with another singer. Mm-hmm. Then we would take a break for dinner and rehearse for the show in the showrooms. So I was doing double duty for all those years. It was amazing,
And I bet you loved
just ridiculous.
Too, didn't you?
Yeah. I did, but you know what? Too much of anything can get on your nerves after a while. You know how you get, you're on stage and you're playing with the same guys every night, and you look over and go, I don't like the way that guy looks. I don't like the way he smells.
Yeah.
And you get into this bickering and stuff, but you know what? But we realized also that it was just a way to let off steam, because when you're working that often, you could get fatigued rather easily, you know?
Yes.
So it's hard to keep your focus, you know? So sometimes humor is the way to get through everything. We've learned how to laugh.
Did you find that encouraged your musical growth or inhibited it? Sometimes doing the same thing all the time can inhibit it. So I'm just curious to get your angle on it.
That's a good question. At first it did, because it was really difficult to keep that stamina up. Even though I was young, I mean, it really takes its toll after you, maybe like the third or fourth month in, you start to get fatigued. So at first it hindered it, but then I realized, well, hey, I have a unique opportunity here that will probably never, ever come my way again. So I learned how to deflect all the negative and use humor to get through it all. And then I figured, well, this is like, for me, it's like my hard school of knocks, you know, like if I don't learn anything from this, shame on me. So we learned how to make the most of it. And the stress actually molded us into better musicians over time, you know?
And I'm sure it increased your focus. I mean, when you're doing the same thing every night for many, many weeks, I mean, some of these bands that I did at the Jersey Shore, I mean, we would learn 2 shows and you did them all summer. You really had to focus to stay on your game, because you would like drift because you've done it so many times.
So how many times did you change the music? In other words, how many shows did you do?
For instance, when I was at resorts, we would do the 6 shows in the lounge. So it was 2 different singers, so we had to learn 2 different singers' music, or books we call them, you know, per week. They would come in for a week. So on the beginning of the week, which was usually a Monday, we would have rehearsal early and learn the 2 books, and then play them for the week. And then whatever show was in the showroom, same deal. We'd have to rehearse and learn that book. For instance, if like Anthony Newley came in, we'd have to learn his music. You have 3 hours to learn it. Mm-hmm. So you have a rehearsal, and the pressure is on. You really have to be sharp, and you can't drop off in any way. Mm-hmm. You can't lay down on the job. They're depending on you, and it is very stressful sometimes, you know. But everybody.
But what you're describing isn't necessarily that unique. It's just what you had to do all the time.
Being a professional musician,
right? We've all done that.
Yes, but it became second nature to me. Mm-hmm. But you know, there was always that break-in first day or two. Like, you never know what kind of conductor you're going to get, or how hard the music's going to be. So you don't have a chance to look at it ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And that could be pretty daunting at times. Like, sometimes there's stuff that you really need to work on a little bit, and you don't have the time. So you have to get the bigger picture and then hone it in, you know. So usually by the second day, everybody was settling in to the music.
Got it.
You know?
Got it.
So it became a great process. And it kept me in good stead over the years. It kept me sharp, you know. So I feel very confident that I could do pretty much anything that came in, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's not unlike what I found myself involved with being in the United States Army Band in D.C. I mean, playing in front of lots of important people and working like I was a presidential and a vice presidential pianist. You know, you weren't allowed to make mistakes.
But you
weren't allowed to look bad.
But you have to make sure too that the feeling is still there in the music. Otherwise, it can get stale if you're just doing it just to get through it.
You can't look at being a professional musician as if you were working a regular job. Mm-hmm. It's all about you. It's about you expressing yourself and making yourself really love it. Because if you love it, then somebody's going to love it. You know what I mean, Andy?
Yeah,
well, you play for the audience.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the audience. I mean, that's
you're doing it for yourself first.
Okay.
And the audience is going to like it.
The audience. You know? Well, I find that when I'm doing these things over and over again, that I sometimes get into it and think, boy, I've done this so many times. It becomes a grind, and then the audience is getting into it, and that lifts me
They
up.
lift you up.
That's what happens to me. We are
beautiful.
We are got to cut you off for a second, Andy. We are out of time in this first segment. People, don't forget tbmradioshow.com, thebusinessofmusicradioshow.com. We are going to come back after the break, and we are going to be talking more with Andy, more about his current music too. We're going to get into a little bit more of his history, current, build it up, and we're going to let you hear some of the stuff that we're talking about. You're hearing about his history and the stuff that he's gone through, and now we're going to let you hear some of his music and go from there.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back in a second. Hello, everybody. This is Brian Chopra with
Lou
Durham, and we're back with the TBM Radio Show, the Business of Music Radio Show, and our special guest, Andy Lalasis. And Lou, you were talking with him about his days, this 20-year period in the circuit.
Yes, Andy. This 20-year period of time for you was like 79 to 99. And you had told me off the air that you became a freelance musician at that point, and I just wanted to know, like, what made you go in that direction, and was it a change of lifestyle for you?
So again,
as far as money was involved,
you said the 20-year. What year did it end?
It ended in 1999. For
99.
Around 1999.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
Yeah, so it was an incredible run. And I thought it would never end, but like all good things, they all come to an end sometimes. So what happens is the casinos kind of just stopped using whole orchestras for acts. And because the technology changed, and quite rapidly. I mean, all of a sudden, there were video screens everywhere, and you didn't need to have that. And they didn't want to spend the money on orchestras anymore.
So most
of the acts came in.
What was the technology that they brought in that caused the transition?
Well, for instance, like all the acts that I played with, like Petula Clark, Davy Jones from the Monkees, Chuck Berry, all these people, they all started to come in like with their own rhythm sections and stuff. So after a while, they didn't need orchestra, and like synthesizers came in, and it eliminated the need for string players. So I used to go into orchestra situations with full strings, French horns, everything. And then it started to whittle down because the synthesizers were gradually taking the place of these musicians. So it kind of just fizzled out naturally.
See, this happened to me. This happened to me with bands in the 90s. I saw bands coming in with synthesizers, and sometimes they would do shows without the drums. Yeah. So then what happened?
Really?
I'm interrupting. Yeah. So tell me, continue. This is interesting. So basically, the technology became against you, and you had to do something about it.
And then the economy took a dip. I don't know if you remember that or not, but the economy kind of took a dip, and casinos started not using full-time musicians anymore. When I was working at the Golden Nugget and resorts, they were my two main home bases. I was actually an employee of the hotel, so I had all the benefits of being an employee of the hotel. So, for instance, Steve Wynn, he was such a great motivator that he had his people. They adored him. They would do anything for him because every holiday we would get a double paycheck. If it was Mother's Day, we would get a double paycheck. Mm-hmm. So everybody was motivated to do the best they could possibly do.
Right.
We always had the best meals. Everything was great. But that started gradually disappearing. And the moguls that were there, they kind of left town. So everything just kind of fizzled out all of a sudden. I woke up 1999 without a steady job anymore, and it kind of threw me for a loop at first. I'm like, oh, this is different. I have to start all over again, you know? And other people have been out playing all over, and I was just in these house orchestras for so long. So I had to get reestablished. So that took me a year or two where I really struggled a little bit, you know? It was like, oh my gosh, I always had a steady money coming in, you know, and all of a sudden the rug got pulled out, and I was like, oh, what's happening here? Right. So I had to figure out how to get back into doing other things. And so, you know, you put the word out, and then the word, you know, it gradually travels. It doesn't happen right away. So I did a couple of years where it was really lean, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But then it started to pick up again all of a sudden. You know, I realized there was life after casinos.
But this pickup was because you were a freelancer now, not because you were with a group, but you were freelancing on your own, right?
That's correct. I was for hire.
Okay.
You know, and I wasn't working with any steady bands or anything. Then I started working with several different band leaders that were doing like weddings and whatever, bar mitzvahs and corporate events.
But you were
doing
I
spent a long time.
You were doing some interesting jazz hits too. I mean, because you had mentioned to me that you had done some stuff with Pat Martino, that great guitarist from Philly.
Yeah, who still today is still out there playing just beautiful music. He's amazing. An amazing story with him. He had gotten a brain aneurysm in the early 80s, and he was friends with my good buddy John Mulhern, who was one of his proteges. So after he had his brain aneurysm, he couldn't remember how to play.
Wow.
So we used to have him over every week at our house, and we would play with him, trying to get him to. His muscle memory was gone, like he forgot how to finger the guitar, and he forgot what to play. But gradually, it started coming back. So anyway, we were friends, and he said, like in 2005, he said, I'm going to do a tour. Would you like to do the tour with me? And I was like, oh, let me think. Yes. And we went all over the United States and London and a few other countries, and it was amazing. It was an amazing time for me. You know, I was in London do you remember in 2005, on July 7th, I'll never forget it, when Al-Qaeda bombed the subways?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yes.
Sure.
Well, I was there
with the
day.
backpacks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You were there during that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and I was fortunate enough to have my wife come with me on that trip. So during the week, we're taking all these double-decker bus tours. We were definitely tourists, you know what I mean? And we were having a great time. And on that day, July 7th, we decided to sleep in that morning, and we were just tired, you know. And around 7 a.m., I heard this huge explosion.
Oh my!
And we ran downstairs, and we ran around the corner where we had been picking up this double-decker bus for our trip, and that was one of the buses that the Al-Qaeda blew themselves up on.
Oh my God!
So we walked right into it, like we could have been on that bus, you know.
Wow.
So it gave me a renewed spirit about life that I never had before, and how precious life really is.
And you never
it can
know.
change in an instant. Yeah.
That's just
so
amazing.
that changed my life, you know. But we played at Ronnie Scott's. We did a week there, and it was just incredible. The history, I don't know if the history of Ronnie Scott's is ridiculous. It's like the who's who. It's like their version of the Blue Note, I guess, you know.
Over in London.
And it was like, yeah, it was just really incredible, you know, and sold out audiences and stuff.
And people
and
jazz
Pat was
there.
a great,
I know that.
Yeah, and they loved Pat because Pat was a gunslinger. He was like the guitarist, the gunslinger. So whoever was in town that played guitar would come to see him and kind of worship at his altar. Like, you know, like people like Larry Carlton, Lee Ritenour, they would all be in the audience, you know? So scared out of my pants, but you know, it was great. It was a great experience.
I'd like to talk to you about your Andy Lalasis project, the album Fret Not.
Now was okay. This was he was just talking about the England.
Yes.
Now these projects were done here or in
these
England?
Projects were done here, correct,
okay.
Andy?
Oh, they were done here.
Okay, so
After
when did
I
you
got off that tour?
Right.
Yeah, so I got off of that tour, and then I realized, I can keep freelancing the rest of my life because I know that that's there now. And I still am freelancing, but I wanted more out of my musical life. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do my own CD, and it was a giant leap of faith for me because I had never done one before. Oh. So luckily I have some amazing friends who helped me get this together, and it was just a beautiful experience for me, and I'm getting ready to start maybe another one soon.
And this is back in the States, of course. This is here.
Yes, this is here. Okay. We'll talk, Lou. Maybe we can work together again.
Well, that would be great. I would have loved that, Andy.
Because you're a great songwriter, Lou.
I appreciate that.
And a wonderful player, too. Oh, my gosh. And a great singer.
Wow. And you sing, too, Andy.
Oh, does he?
Just a little backups. I'm not a lead vocalist, but I love to sing backups.
I remember you singing "Everything Must Change."
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, long time ago.
Going back, man.
Okay, we got to talk about. We got to talk about your.
What's his favorite? I mean, we've got 3 albums that we're talking about. That you did. What years? I have here.
You've got Fret Not. Mm-hmm. And you said you did that around 2010?
Yeah, around 2010, I decided to do that, and
I think we should.
I have a little.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
I have a little. No, I have a little home studio, and I use Logic, and which is a recording program, and I play. Yep. I played most of my stuff in my little office here, and built the tracks, and then I farmed it out to live musicians, friends of mine. Mm-hmm. Who helped complement it and make it into a real record.
Sure.
Did they record it at your house, or did they record it in a studio?
I used 3 different studios to do this record. Okay. SSR Studios, Bob Fowler, Chris Arazi Studio, which is CAS Music, and the other one was John Mulhern's studio in Ventnor. So these 3 friends helped me produce it and mix it and master it, and I was really blessed.
So which song should we listen to first here, Andy? Which one should we listen to?
Oh, okay. I'm really proud of the song called "Rescue You, Rescue Me."
Okay.
Last year we were given an award by the American Songwriters Association for being one of the 10 best songs of the year.
Oh, cool.
Composition and performance-wise, and it came from doing a film, a documentary about rescuing animals. So the song is literally about rescuing animals, and
can you tell that by listening to it?
No, it sounds like a love song.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's listen to a little bit of "Rescue You, Rescue Me."
Frozen in fear, desperate arms reaching out in the night, nothing is here. Locked and alone, iron and stone hold me still.
This is where you have to listen to the lyrics.
You have to.
As you've taught me. To get what this is about.
This is about, yeah. Did you write this, Andy? This is beautiful.
I co-wrote it with my friend Chris Arazi.
Really, Chris,
and
whom we worked together with.
Yeah,
years
you
ago.
know
Yeah.
Chris.
Sure.
Yes. And we just got notice in last year that it was, nominated for the top 10 song, one of the top 10 songs of the year.
I've been lucky
And
enough
I got
to,
a little statuette.
Ah. Okay.
Which is on your mantle or something now? Is that what it is?
You could bet your butt.
Yeah. So that is a beautiful song. And I'm going to have to listen to the whole thing. I haven't heard the whole thing yet. So I'm going to have to listen to the entire thing. I probably will do that on the way home tonight.
Yep.
But I know there's a tune on there, and I know that this song must have been named after you because your nickname used to be Android.
So what's the tone?
Isn't that true?
That is correct.
Many people called you Android.
Why?
And,
Yes, they did.
I don't know why they called you
I have
Just
to ask that.
No, just because, Andy, Android, and it kind of stuck,
I thought there would be something more to this.
And
No. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately. But this song is like an autobiography of my life. I like
Okay.
starting out learning and being almost a robot, and then how to blossom into a musician. So
There you go.
it's kind of like a metamorphosis song.
So
Okay.
you felt you were a robot before you were a musician?
Well, I'm not actually a robot, but more like my role in music was to back up people. So I didn't really put a lot of my whole personality into
Do you
it.
realize, I have to
You know.
say, do you realize that as we were interviewing Lou in the earlier episodes, Lou was saying this too, that so much of what happened with him in the beginning was backing up other artists. It just seems to be that's a trend.
Yep. I was always the second
Yeah.
banana. Yep.
Yes. So, okay,
Right,
so you
and
went
you
from,
got to start somewhere.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So you went from Android to leader.
So I think we need to hear
human
some
being.
Android.
to human being.
Let's hear a little bit of this Android here.
It does sound Android-y.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Oh, it's just got musical. It just got musical.
yes.
Yeah.
But it sounds like an android playing the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's R2D2 playing your music.
Right. Well, as long as the check comes to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hearing in the background.
Okay, Andy, I think
that was
that
cool.
pretty much
That
explains
was
what we're
cool.
talking about. Yes, it goes from a very mechanical, technical feel
Yeah, but it's still a cool one.
to a really musical
But it
expression.
didn't bother me. I liked it. Just the
Yeah,
whole-
it was very, very cool.
Yes.
And it really helps to have the artist explain what the heck is going on with his music.
That's right.
Yes.
Especially jazz. I mean, you really have no idea what the author, or the composer has in mind, but there's always a story behind it,
Sure.
Now, was that done on a synthesizer that you played, or is this synthesized sound?
I actually played about 6 tracks of bass on that one. And the rest is my good friend Bob Fowler at his studio. He did the rest of the background tracks with the drums and all that stuff. That sounds like a real drummer, but it's not. It's software that plays drums.
But it just
unfortunately,
worked
but
because it was Android-y.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why we liked it, because it was kind of like, like metallic sounding,
Okay, we're coming to the end of this segment.
We are out of our second segment. We are out of time. And remember, tbmradioshow.com, thebusinessofmusicradioshow.com. And we're going to come back after this short break, and we're going to talk more. You're going to hear more of the music we're talking about and explain, let you hear more of his newer album. Yeah. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TBM Radio Show, the Business of Music Radio Show. I'm Brian Choper, you know, and
I'm Lou Durham.
And then there is also... he
he's
catch
quiet.
his cue.
Yeah.
Andy, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. This is very exciting for me.
Right. The next time I say, and this is...
I was waiting for a drum roll.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were reacting like the diving horse used to do at Steel Pier.
Okay.
You know, like he wouldn't jump. You know. Okay.
Oh, it's too funny.
All right. I would like to talk to you about another one of your projects, Breckerville, and I would like to preface that by saying all of your music that you've got out there. I think the audience would like to know where they can get this music to listen to your great stuff.
Yeah.
Well, great. As far as my album, Fret Not, you can get it on CD Baby and iTunes, which is Apple Music, and what's the other one, Lou, that you mentioned?
Amazon.
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 Yeah.
What?
Lou knows more about it than I do. No, but you can get them on any of those.
Okay.
And you know what's really funny, guys? A quick aside, like digital download music is different now than buying CDs.
Very, very, very.
You can't make them. You can't make money on it like you used to do.
No.
So, like, I got a statement one day from all my sales, all my downloads, like all over the world, Japan,
42 cents.
and it was like $37.
Yeah, I know. I get that too. That's yes, and exactly. And people. Now that's interesting to say because people don't get that.
No, you got to make your money on touring.
Here's what people think. Here's what people think. People think that a wholesale showcase is $250, and that the CD's $250, and that you're wholesaling the CD to like Amazon, which used to be when I was doing it for like $7.50. Then they were selling it for $15.99.
Right.
Okay? But you were making 60.
That's right.
You were making. I mean, I remember those days, and then you were making 60% of that. And so on a CD sale, because you couldn't break up the CDs into tracks, and it was a CD. On the CD sale, you were making, $7 or something like this in the end. And so that added up to some not rich money, but something. Now you buy a track,
right?
And not only do you buy a track for $1, and you're making 60 cents, okay, on the track, but
yes.
but now you as an artist have lost control of your album, because an album used to be the roller coaster ride of 13 or 12 or 14 songs where you could decide what you wanted the listener to hear first, second, and third, and they would be for 45 minutes in listening to you and in your camp, taking the roller coaster ride that they've paid for, that you gave them. And now it's a track, and the average person does not understand that the roller coaster ride is over, that it's only about the song and the mood of that 3 minutes.
Wow.
Okay? So
that is so right. That
there
is
you
so
go.
correct.
There you go. And not only that, but they go on to Amazon, and they look at your music, and they'll buy 4 tracks. So you've made 60 cents times 4.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
Yep.
So
yeah. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yes. So you've made $5.
It's all about touring and playing and selling swag and T-shirts and hats and mugs and.
Absolutely, it's all about that.
Yes.
Like, do you know who Pharrell is, right?
Oh,
Pharrell,
yeah.
he
Of course.
did that song, Happy.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
he must have sold hundreds of thousands of that song. I think he made $37,000. That was pretty much it.
I was told
You
he made
know.
a little more than that, but for what he had done in it, he didn't really make a lot of money. And a lot of the
Right.
stuff was what do you call it when you have other bands covered, covered by other bands, and people bought the covers.
Right.
Well,
That's
you know what,
correct.
Andy? We have to talk about Breckerville.
Yeah.
What song would you like us to play from Breckerville first? And explain what Breckerville is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Breckerville is a brainchild of a bunch of us that got together, 6 of us, and decided that we loved the music of Michael and Randy Brecker. Michael Brecker was the world's foremost, of course, tenor saxophone player, jazz player, and was the pinnacle for jazz music. And his brother Randy who's still alive, is a great trumpet player. Amazing musicians they were, and they broke ground on this kind of fusion, rock, jazz fusion kind of thing. So we decided to do an homage to that, not like a tribute band per se, but more like the essence of what they did. You know, so we do concerts all over the place, and it's the music of Michael and Randy Brecker, the Brecker brothers. And it's exceedingly difficult music, but it's a labor of love, and we've been doing it for about 5 years now. And we've done a few jazz festivals, and we always get incredible response wherever we go. And so,
So with that, we're going to listen
it's a labor of love for us.
Are we going to listen to Oops?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
I like Oops. I like that. Here it comes.
So what's the meter?
Oh, this is 4/4,
It's 4/4.
but it's a little.
It just keeps changing
Yeah, it's-
where the groove hits.
Correct. It kind of like floats over the bar a lot, you know.
But I think it is pattern oriented. I can hear it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
I like it.
Definitely it works.
Must be really fun to
And
play.
because it's 4/4, you can dance to it.
Okay, that was Oops.
Talk about that.
That was
that's a
Oops,
piece-
and you know
that's a
what?
piece to talk about. Because
Interesting meter, Andy.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard that song before, but the meter, the feel of it, I mean, it just kept changing its place in the groove where the feel would lay.
right, but it wasn't. It
Ye-
still stayed 4/4.
It still stayed 4/4, and it broke into almost like an island type of thing,
Right.
which was very, very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, Caribbean.
that's very astute of you. That was real. Yeah, that's exactly right. And the meter, it just goes over the bar a lot, so it sounds like it's turning around, but it's just a trick of the of rhythm.
Sure.
Is that why Oops?
Yeah, I guess so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, Andy, I learned a long time ago, there's no such thing as a bar line. You just got
Yeah. I know some drummers that know that.
That's true. That's true. Maybe not on purpose, but they know.
So, but not all of his albums are like that, right? Not
No.
all of his albums. So let's
No.
give people a
We-
contrast.
We have another song from Breckerville, and it's called Peep. Can you explain a little bit about Peep?
I'm sorry.
It sounds dirty, but it's not. Now, Peep is another one where it, let's see, it evolves. These pieces kind of evolve. They start out with a theme, and then they kind of expand and go in different directions.
Yes.
And they turn at the drop of a hat. So the music is exceedingly difficult to play live. It's kind of draining because you cannot lose concentration or else you're done.
Right. I hear that in
So
the other, I heard that in the last tune.
Yeah, you can't go to sleep on this stuff. That's for sure.
Right, right.
Okay, so let's hear some Pete. Hey, Andy, it almost has that skunk funk feel to it a little bit.
Pretty much, yes.
It's cool, man. Makes
Yeah.
me want to play it.
I can remember doing skunk funk the Billy Cobham way at a casino gig.
You know, this is an example of when you have good musicians together and you do something like this, it makes it sound easy. Because actually that tune, if you're listening to it, carefully listening to it, it all made sense. It wasn't like something's thrown together.
Oh, no.
It made sense, and it didn't sound, it sounded like something that you'd want to try to just do.
And he's right, it is exceedingly difficult music, but when everyone knows where one is,
Yes, then it works, man.
then it works. Right, Andy?
You got magic.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
It's such a great feeling to be able to do these successfully, because it took a couple years for us to get all this music together.
I'm sure it did.
And this is one of the things that I find interesting about our society. You have places like even Live Nation that it says, jazz there's no money in it, and therefore we don't need to perform, we don't need to book this anymore. And a large part of our population is now missing this type of stuff, this culture live.
Right.
And now they see they're missing a whole thing. They're missing a whole world that they can get a piece of it if they buy this CD.
Can I ask you, Andy, is Breckerville playing any concerts in the near future that anybody might be able to attend? Or?
Well, actually, we're not booked at the moment. We just finished playing at this jazz, very, very nice jazz club in Philadelphia called South. Last month we did a concert there, and we've packed both shows. And what a great feeling, because we're not really Philly guys, we're South Jersey guys, but the word gets out somehow, and it's what a great fulfilling feeling to look out in the audience and see so many people interested in beautiful music, great
That's
music.
true.
So I think there's a lot of hope for the future.
I think you're right. I think it would be important. I know that you had mentioned to me two other projects that you are involved in right now. One is called Mosaic, and one is called the Electric Elements Band. I think maybe you should tell the audience a little bit about those.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Mosaic is a brainchild of four musicians, friends of mine, and we Vic Stevens on drums, Jason Long on piano, and Mark Adler on flute. And what we do is arrangements, some of them original. We're getting ready to do a recording, and some of them covers tunes, but we do them in different way. And we're trying to get a string quartet to play with us as well. So we're working on that right now. But it's all creative music and played in an ensemble setting, but equally challenging music.
It's funny you should say you're looking for a string ensemble, because Brian and I happen to know one right here called District 5, who are very talented.
Yeah. I'm listening to this, and
really,
we have the group that to match you with. Yeah, we have it right here.
Well, we need to talk.
Yeah. Yes, we will talk about District 5 together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no question.
And my other group is called Electric Elements Band, and that's with Chris Simoniti on piano, John Swana on EVI, which is the electronic valve instrument. He was a great trumpet player, but then he had problems with his chops, which is embouchure in his mouth. And I think he was ill at one time, and so he can't play that anymore. So he picked up this electronic valve instrument, which is like a synthesizer, but you blow air into it. And it's incredibly expressive and beautiful.
What's it called?
You know, and he has a whole sound bank.
Well,
It's called the EVI,
Okay.
and it's just amazing. You know.
Oh, so it's a synthesizer.
so
It
we
reminds me of a clarinet. I've seen the clarinet. So that you blow air into it, and you're pressing the buttons, and it's a lot of clarinet players.
This is
play
probably
this.
an evolution
Yes.
of a lot of
Yes,
those.
I've seen this before.
A lot of those instruments that were out early on that were not so expressive.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yes.
probably evolved into this instrument.
Okay.
This has become a long way, and it's so beautiful. You know, and they have sound banks just like keyboard players have now, you know.
Sure.
So he brings his whole rack mount stuff with him, and it just is mind-boggling when you hear it.
Got it.
So we're doing original music of Chris Simonini, which is really great. And, you know, I'm just the luckiest guy on the planet right now because I'm still a beatnik. My wife allows me to be a beatnik. And still pursue the muse, like, you know.
Right.
I'm still chasing after great music,
Right.
and hopefully I'll be able to do that until I can't anymore.
Right.
That's true.
So
and you're also
I-
you're also laughing at circumstances and situations that other people would be like throwing rocks at, but you're laughing at them and like the ability to make money off of a CD. You know, I just think it's funny that everyone.
I always say that it doesn't matter with musicians. You can be 14, 18, or 82, 92.
Yeah.
It's the same twinkle in the eye and the same attitude. And
Right.
if you're a real
It's so
musician,
true, Lou.
if you're a real musician, not a make-believe one, not a technician, if you're really the
That's
real
right.
thing, then that's what you are.
Okay.
That's right. And I just love that process, and I never get tired of it. It never gets old.
Nope.
You know,
does.
there's something
He's a
about,
project player. He's not.
you know.
Yeah.
He's not a contract player. He's a project player.
At this stage of the game, you're still freelancing, but you seem like you're more a project player at this point.
Yeah, I still do my like contracted jobs. I work with the Ocean City Pops in the summer, and I do a lot of their concerts with them, where I'm playing legitimate music, you know, concert music with an orchestra, and that's exciting too.
Sure.
But I have the best of all worlds. I'm one of the luckiest guys on the planet right now because I do different things, but they're all incredibly interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So I never get bored. I'm never bored. I love it.
Seems like you're incredibly interesting, Andy. You always have been.
So more about the electric.
So more about this
Let's get
electric
into
elements
this. I wanna
band.
hear
Let's
this
hear a
stuff.
little bit
Yes. What tune are we playing?
more. Oh, he does not have anything available for us to listen
Yeah,
to. from the
unfortunately-
Electric Elements band.
These are not
Man.
quite ready for prime time
Yes.
yet.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Well, we have to have you back when they are so that we can listen to these things.
Yes. Now
This
you
I got
the same thing applied with the Andy Lalasis. You said there was a CD or a project under Andy Lalasis. Or am I mistaken about that?
Well, that's my Fret Not CD.
Okay.
So that's under my own name.
Got it.
Kind of like a solo
Yep.
project.
The 2010 project.
And
And that's available
Yes,
on
and
iTunes and CD Baby and Amazon and
Got it.
yes.
So we wanted you all to hear music, and I think that we've heard some beautiful jazz tonight.
I think we have,
That's
yeah.
where we are. This is Brian Choper
and this is Lou Durham, and
With-
I'd like to remind you,
with the Business of Music Radio Show.com.
I shall remind you, that Andy Lalasis has a project that's called Fret Not is the LP. You can get it on iTunes, CD Baby, and Amazon Music. I urge you to listen to it. It's just remarkable music.
Yep.
And I want to thank you personally, Andy, for coming to do this. It's great to talk to you whenever I talk to you.
And sharing your music with everyone, because people don't get a chance to hear these kinds of things all the time, and that's what we're here for.
We've got fans everywhere at this
Yes.
point. So it's working out.
This is such a great honor for me, guys. Really, I can't thank you enough. And I hope I've lived up to your expectations, but I am so thrilled to be able to do this. It's beyond words. And to reconnect with you, Lou, after so many years,
Yes.
then you're doing so well. And Brian, to meet you And I hope that we all can get a chance to play together.
Well, we are going to be doing that because, we're working more up north.
Yeah,
and as we're going up
heading
north, and we're going to probably meet you maybe this week.
Yep. I would like to meet you this week. We can have some lunch, and we can tell the stories that we can't tell on the radio. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, what a great opportunity, guys.
Andy, thank you very much. This is Brian Choper and Lou and Andy Lalasis with the Business of Music radio show. See you next week.
Have a good night.
Brian and Lou, God bless.